Now to the Pemulwuy Prize. We award this annually, as Tilly said, to those who displayed fearless courage in their advocacy for our region. Some of the past recipients include the boss of Sydney Water, who led a crusade to fix our rivers, the Bankstown Slam poets, you might hear from later, who are helping young kids find their voice, the African refugees in Blacktown who were taking child soldiers and turning them into community leaders and NBA recruits, and the team at Western Sydney Local Health who led leading the Diabetes Initiative. You know, it's no coincidence that we present the award today honouring both this fearless Indigenous warrior who, through the frontier wars, evaded the redcoats for years with some magical power in defending his people, while also hosting the Lachlan Macquarie Lecture, honouring the Governor who ruled the country from Parramatta. Should have been in your report, Barney. We'll take Parliament back to Parramatta. Considering some of the horrific historic events, though, it's timely that we sat and thought, is it appropriate with Macquarie, some part of the black spot of Macquarie's record, notwithstanding the incredible contribution he made to the economic and social fabric and to both governance, our built form and our governance. But on reflection, and after a lot of discussions with Aboriginal elders, with historians and with our staff, we decided we would continue. We won't cancel and ignore. Instead, we think it's better to heal, to learn, to listen, and to go forward and use it both as an open and honest discussion about our past and a guiding light for our future. Previous lecturers have included Prime Minister Turnbull, then Premier Berejiklian, and mixed it up with Eddie Wu, the Hillshire teacher who's taken maths to the world on YouTube. This year it's my pleasure to present the Pemulwuy Prize to a man who has displayed not only his warrior-like advocacy for our region, but used his own national standing in the early days of our city-shaping adventure to help this region rise. I first met Peter Shergold in 1993 when he was the CEO at ATSIC, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Commission, before he went on to lead the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. I met him again in 2011 when he became Chancellor of the Western Sydney University Board and asked me to join him on that board. He retires from that role in December to be succeeded by Jennifer Westacott, who's also with us today. So welcome Jennifer. In the interim, Peter has held eminent titles like the Refugee Resettlement Commissioner. He served as Chair of the New South Wales Public Service Advisory Board, the Centre for Social Impact, the Western Sydney Airport Community Forum, and the New South Wales Education Standards Board, amongst about 15 others in that period, and recently conducted a review of TAFE with David Gonski. Through it all, he's also been a patron of this organisation since the beginning and a governor of our collaborative leadership program. It's hard to overstate the impact this fellow's had on the West and on me. To the task of regional advocacy and university leadership, he brought both aggression and nuance, both deep strategic thinking and operational dexterity. He arrived at WSU, when it was called UWS, at a critical juncture in its development, and forged a very successful partnership with Vice-Chancellor Barney Glover, who's here, who he recruited. It's led to an explosion of tertiary education and institutions across our region, most of which also are here today, the other universities and TAFE. It also helped to end the tyranny of distance that kids like I faced when you left school in the 80s and you had to schlep all the way to Sydney Uni to try and get a degree. And when you got there, you had to deal with Albo on the other side of my student politics factional fights. It is remarkable. It's the single most important change in Western Sydney is the growth of tertiary education opportunity. However, Peter's contribution goes well beyond making WSU a force that it is. He's been a true leader for the entire region, using his academic credibility, his political currency, his media nous, and his regional mentorship to our collective benefit. As someone who's been in the thick of this unique GWS story for the past 15 to 20 years, I can say without hesitation that we would not be the force we are today. We would not enjoy the economic power we do. We would not, nor would we be the equitable society we're becoming without the leadership and professionalism, the passion and the dignity that Peter Shergold has brought. He lent the university and the dialogue and this region his own personal legitimacy in the early days of our city shaping, and the legacy he's created is magnificent. Would you please welcome to the stage the recipient of the 2022 Pemulwuy Prize, recognising a modern fearless warrior for our region, Professor Peter Shergold, AC.
Thank you so much. That is really, really beautiful.
I meant to look at the camera somewhere over here. I'll find us. There we go. Down here, please.
Well, thank you. I am deeply honoured and proud to receive the Pemulwuy Prize because, as we heard, Pemulwuy was this extraordinary warrior who fought what was probably the first of our frontier wars in March 1797, just a few kilometres from here. I'm proud to accept this prize on behalf, in effect, of Western Sydney University, on behalf of the wonderful Tilly Harry, on behalf of Vice-Chancellor Barney Glover and everybody here, the students, the staff, the alumni of Western Sydney University, because I do think it's made the most extraordinary contribution over my 12 years. I don't know if I do much. I, with my grey goatee beard, look pretty cool in medieval robes and a Tudor bonnet. I've managed over 12 years to preside over 200 ceremonies, about 40,000 of the 100,000 graduates in that 12-year period. And I think you probably think you know the story of Western Sydney University and what's happened. You know that it is a university of the people. You know that it is the university that serves this region. You know that it is the university where 80% of those domestic students who attend are first in family. You know that we have more Muslim students, more Arabic students, more Korean students, more Vietnamese students, and yes, more First Nation students than just about any other university in Australia, more people who you would define as low SES, whose parents haven't had the opportunity that we now provide. And I'm very proud indeed that we're the university that's taken the lead in terms of refugees. Just think on this for a moment. Over 800 students at our university who came here as refugees. And I'm glad we're providing scholarships, including for asylum seekers. Asylum seekers who, of course, get no access to loans. Asylum seekers who have to pay the fees of overseas students. But we think it's a good investment because those asylum seekers in the years ahead will become the doctors and the nurses and the midwives and the engineers and the social workers and the business leaders of this region. So I'm proud to accept it on behalf of the university. But often when I talk to people, they say, what a wonderful university, what a great thing you're doing, overcoming social disadvantage. And I say, thank you, but wrong. We're not overcoming disadvantage. A third of our students go home at night, domestic students, and speak a language other than English. That means they speak English and a language other than English. What an extraordinary strength that is for the future of Australia. And what you may not know, and this is my chance to boast, is that this year we were the first Australian university to actually top a university's ranking conducted by the Times Higher Education. And it was the ranking we wanted because it's the one that goes to the heart of the social mission that I've been pleased to be part of over the last dozen years. It was coming one in the world in terms of the contribution we make as a university to the UN sustainability rankings, for the work we're doing in teaching and researching, in overcoming inequality and environmental sustainability. But as Barney Glover's pointed out, what that means, of course, is that I am the Ash Barty of Australian chancellors, stepping down when I'm #1 in the world. So thank you, Christopher. Thank you so much for this. We are a university of the people. We're also a university for the people. And where I take a real pride in accepting this prize is not just what we've done in education, but how in Westmead and Parramatta, in Liverpool, in Campbelltown, in Bankstown. We are helping to place-make Western Sydney to be the place, the booming place, Christopher, that's becoming. Thank you so much for that prize.